Got ya.
Preparing the link, it'll be just a little bit. We're good to go.
I'd like to call the meeting to order. This is the Gibsonburg Exempted Village School District Regular Board of Education meeting dated July 18th, 2022 at 6:30 p.m. First item on the agenda is 22-88, assign Dr. Bob Falkenstein as Secretary Pro Temp.
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Dan Schroeder, second by Ms. Whitmer. Questions or discussion? Roll call?
Mr. Schroeder.
Yes.
Mrs. Kratzer,
Yes.
Mr. Mason,
Yes.
Mr. Mendoza,
Yes.
Ms. Whitmer.
Yes.
Item passes 5-0. Would everyone please stand for the pledge of allegiance? I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call?
Mr. Schroeder,
Here.
Mrs. Kratzer,
Here.
Mr. Mason,
Here.
Mr. Mendoza.
Here.
And Ms. Whitmer.
Item 22-89, it is recommended to approve the agenda as presented by the superintendent for the July 18th, 2022 regular Board of Education meeting.
So moved.
Motion by Mrs. Kratzer,
Second.
second by Mr. Mendoza. Questions or discussion? Roll call?
Okay, Mrs. Kratzer,
Yes.
Mr. Mason,
Yes.
Mr. Mendoza,
Yes.
Ms. Whitmer,
Yes.
Mr. Schroeder.
Yes.
Item passes 5-0. Item 22-90, it is recommended the Board of Education read, approve, and sign the minutes of the regular meeting dated June 29th, 2022.
So moved.
Motion by Ms. Whitmer,
Second.
second by Mrs. Kratzer. Roll call?
Okay, Mr. Mason,
Yes.
Mr. Mendoza,
Yes.
Ms. Whitmer,
Yes.
Mr. Schroeder,
Yes.
Mrs. Kratzer.
Yes.
Item passes 5-0. Reading of communications. Anything this evening? Do you have anything, Dr. Brown?
Nope.
Legislative report? I have nothing. Okay. Administrative reports. We only have one. Yours?
And I have a lot to say. So
Settle
in. No, really, the transition is completed for Denny and myself. He really kept his foot on the gas, and I appreciated that, especially in regard to staffing. But I've got his keys, and it's a done deal, and here we go. So glad to be here. John and Ann have been working through their transition. They will be back in on Thursday, July 27th, Wednesday or Thursday, but July 27th. And then Ann will be ready to take over here on Monday, the 1st, August 1st. Some notes, I am all hooked up with North Point ESC and the Sandusky County regional groups that I'm going to be part of. In North Point's region, there are 13 new superintendents. I don't know if you guys were aware of that. 13 new out of 27 schools. So that's pretty exciting. Roof repair over at the middle high school is still in progress. It has been slow going. We were going to have a big crew here today, but the rain kind of kept them away again. But Joe has been in contact with them. We expect for that project to be done by Friday. And I'll keep an eye on that one. Air Force One, our HVAC that is being updated, our controls that are being updated. We had a meeting on Friday. They came in. They are going to start changing our controls within 2 weeks. Again, this is going to be district wide. All the controls in all of the building. That will include what you see on the wall. It'll include the wire that runs from the wall up and over. It'll include the computer system to run it, and we will have remote capabilities. We are going to start with our classrooms and get those done first to avoid the disruption to the educational process. Yes, we're going to permit them to be in the schools when school is in session, but only in safe places where they're not going to interrupt the flow of traffic and that kind of thing. This will take a long time. Full implementation will be done in the spring. They'll have various shutdowns and restarts with our current system and then the new one. They are going to train us. We have a 5-year agreement for them to be in here, but they're going to train us. So the custodial staff will all be trained. I've thought about getting myself trained so that I know how to run it. It boils down to the complaints you get when the gym is too cold during the basketball game. That's when it matters. And I want to be able to go in there and make it warmer, if I'm there. So that's going to get started here real soon. New CVS in Woodville called us and made a donation of supplies. They are closing their store in Woodville. So Joe went out. We got 4 cases of gallon hand sanitizer that we can use to refill. We've got 4 cases of cleaning gloves that'll primarily be used by the custodial staff, 8 cases of wipes, and a bunch of the paper grocery bags that we are going to give to Mr. White for his sausage sales in FFA. So thank you to CVS for that donation. I'd like you to notice, if you would, the building, the grounds around look really, really nice right now. I have met Scott, I met Dewey, gotten to know those guys a little bit and thank them. I'd like you to notice out front here, when you leave, we have put the tree, the pine tree that nobody could seem to get planted, we're going to put in the ground. I've got it set in a location for you to take a look at on your way out. It is going to be perfectly centered from sidewalk to sidewalk. It lines up with no windows, so it's in the middle of the building. There's the potential for trees to be added on both sides, which I've heard was an idea. And most importantly, it needs to be clean. So I'd like you to look at it and notice how good it looks right now. That's kind of my expectation, is that it stays that way and that we don't have the issue that I understand was out there in the past. So I'd like to get that in the ground before it dies. It's about to die. We need to get it in the ground. We have a watering plan as well. So, but it does, the building and grounds look great. We are keeping an eye on the football field, the practice field. We've been blessed with rain. We've got a meeting set up with Sonia, Jay, Brian, and myself tomorrow. Right, everybody's in town. Athletics are starting. We want, everything to look good for the athletic season. Track renovations are in progress. The fence is moved. We are prepped for the high jump area and long jump area. When those are done, we will have the blacktop people come in. There's currently a row of turf on the sidelines nearest to the parking lot that is going to get replaced because that got tore up from the long jump. There is a box that you'll notice. I don't know if anybody's seen it. We have honeybees in the ground over there. Apparently honeybees don't go underground. They go somewhere else, but I don't know. Ours are in the ground. So we have a local beekeeper who is trying to get them so that we don't kill the honeybees. But if they don't get in that box pretty soon, we're going to zap them because I don't want anybody to deal with bee stings during football games. So true story. The ceiling of the parking lots is just about done. We need to stripe over by the bus garage, and that project will be completed. During the dialogue with the board that occurred in February, I took notes, and one of the things that was of note was the need for substitute teachers. It was expressed that it's hard to pull special ed teachers out of areas just to cover classrooms. That's not necessarily what's right for kids. We have administrators who would cover classrooms, but then if there's an emergency removal or something that's needed, you might not be able to find them. We have familiar names that are board approved as subs. We have others that we're going to get relicensed and get back on that list. But I am always looking for subs. So for anybody in the public who might be listening, it's $90 and a very fun day. That includes some of you too, at $90. And also it's kind of a legislative update, but House Bill 583 will give us the ability to appoint subs who do not have a bachelor's degree. In their wisdom, ODE approved for that to start on September 22nd. But they have since changed their mind and noticed in Ohio Revised Code, if I want to approve a sub, they have 60 days grace period. So we can do this. We can have people apply and I can license them as of, if you would approve an August board meeting for us to go that route to add non-bachelor subs. And then ODE will wait till September 23rd to approve them, but we can use them. So think about that one on the August board meeting. We might want to take action if it's your wish to go in that direction. The Ohio Back to School Sales Tax holiday is coming back again this year. It will be the first weekend of August, Friday the 5th through Sunday the 7th. And clothing $75 or less as a reminder to the public. School supplies $20 or less each item, and instructional supplies $20 or less. So that'll be happening again if parents want to take advantage of it. Another thing I would ask you to think about is how we want to run future meetings. You guys have had kind of Denny's way of doing things, right, for the last couple of years. Some of the things that I would ask you to think about prior to September would be having our principals come and report to each board meeting during the school year. I would be in favor of something like that, where the principals come in 3 minutes, right? I don't want 20 minutes each, right? 3-minute highlights. What that would do is give them some face-to-face time with you. It might mean that they don't have to do the Friday updates like they have in the past, might free up some of their time. But I'd ask you to think about that. We had even talked about maybe having some students group come in September during the school year. It doesn't have to be every month, right? We know, especially high school students are really, really busy. If they've got a contest or an event, they might not be able to come. But if you want some of that, I would like to know that in advance. So think about that one, and we could piece together having some student recognition. If we did something like that, it can be a lot of fun. It can really be a lot of fun. And if we could, give them a nominal gift card for participating, if the board wanted to do that, would be a little worth their time. Hey, here's $10 for McDonald's or whatever. So there's an idea for you. And lastly, I have had an absolute joy of a time these last couple of weeks. I've only been on the job, for a little while, even though I, was able to help out a little bit in June and meet with you and others, but it has been an absolute riot. I love the work. I cannot wait for staff to get here. Can't wait for students to get here, but things are going really, really well, and we are up and running. Any questions at all?
I wouldn't be opposed to bringing administrative reports back or student.
In students.
We used to do
Yeah.
that.
I was gonna wait till board issued with, but I would say maybe even possibly having the other administrators rotating through months. Like, I don't think it's necessary that they're all here all the time. I think that's a little bit extreme, but to have them maybe like to be on some sort of schedule that once a quarter or, you know, once every 6 months, somebody is able to just share what they've been doing.
Thank you.
I think that's how we used to do it.
Yeah.
The administrator, once every quarter, so 4 times a year. Board initiated business. Start with Mr. Mendoza.
Other than looking forward to another year coming up, a lot of new faces and going to be an exciting year. But I did want to touch base on our work session. Did we come up with a date and time yet or?
But I was gonna bring that up also.
Okay.
Dr. Bob and I talked about that before we came in, and we were possibly thinking about our August board meeting. Maybe trying to move that from 6:30 to 5:30, and then just doing a work session after that, since we'll already be here. If not, sometime that week, which would be like the 15th through the 20th, sometime that week.
That's we remember board time, but a little earlier.
What's that?
That weekend, the
You're
later,
Later.
it would be.
So yeah, we talked about just doing it on that Monday, just moving the board meeting up an hour to 5:30, and then after the regular board meeting, just staying after and doing a work session after that. Would everybody be okay with that?
Good with that?
We determine that right now.
Yeah, probably true.
Yeah, let's pencil it in.
So that would be August 15th for sure.
Yeah.
5:30.
Yep.
5:30 board meeting and then afterward work
Work
session.
Session to follow.
I think anybody that's got any specific items that they'd like to discuss in that, send those to Dr. Bob. And he can prepare an agenda, and then him and Ann can sit down once she's here
Happy to.
full time, and they can put some things together.
That's not Lindsay Council meeting, is it?
Oh, she did say that they have a conflict with this date.
She also is aware and was going to bring up tonight at her meeting that they would have to change their date.
Yeah.
For her to continue.
Yeah.
So I don't see August 15th being a conflict.
Okay.
I mean, I don't know what their policy is, but I know our policy is you have to miss 6 in a row before you can be removed. So, I mean, I don't know what their policy is.
Yeah.
Dave's here, you have to give that up. But I want to see her here too.
She's working through that probably right now.
For how to give it a burn. Check it out.
Interesting. I'm good.
Mrs. Crowtzer?
Oh, you're asking me for input now?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Board initiated business.
I would like to say that I am delighted with the enthusiasm that we've heard from our superintendent, and I'm so excited about the, all the new things that are coming. I think we're really heading in a great way. That's not to say that the people that have stepped aside and gone on to other things didn't do a lot for our district. And I thank them for their service, John and Denny especially, but we're so glad to really feel like we're starting with such enthusiasm. Thank you for that.
Thank you.
I'll second Cheryl, just a last thank you to Denny and John for their service while they were here. And we're excited for a new chapter at Gibsonburg Schools, starting officially August 1st.
Yeah.
So, thank you. Mr. Dan Schroeder?
August 1st can't get here quick enough. Once again, like you said, the gentlemen that are in their absence, I think they both left the school better than they found it. That's what you hope for anyone and anywhere. So thank you to them. Thank you for your enthusiasm, hit the ground running and keep it going.
Welcome. Thanks.
Yep, so the process for hiring a sub that does not have a bachelor, what does that look like?
The
Does that look-
process?
Yeah, does that look the same, like interview process? Like, do you have to do anything particularly special? Like, just how does that look?
They would apply to us. We review their credentials. They actually apply on the ODE licensure site, and then I can approve those. It's all pending a background check. And us thinking that they're right for us. So typically bachelor's degree is required, some level of education. Now it's not
So it's just kind of the same process, but just removing that requirement.
exact same process. They have to pay a fee to get their license and it gets approved.
Okay, and then I know that something else that as I was flipping through the agenda, I know that we're approving the agreement with Safe Haven. Again, which is great and very much needed, but I know something else that had come up in dialogue with the board was behavioral issues at the middle school, high school. So just like as we talk with Safe Haven and seeing what kind of options we have maybe to include them a little bit more, or just what our general options are to provide more support
Okay.
over there. I just thought, I was reminded of that when I was flipping through. And then just thank you to you and the outgoing Denny and John, especially with filling positions as they've kind of come up in the last couple of months. So it's been really awesome to see a team effort from all of the group, kind of ingoing and outgoing. So thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
One more thing regarding the substitute teachers. Just like any problem, you can always throw more money at it. So could be something that we discuss. I know we increased that amount not that long ago, maybe a little bit over a year, but I know a lot of other districts we compete with pay a higher wage than $90 a day. So I think maybe we could have some discussion about that. We can do that in our work session.
At least be something to look into, see what it wants to be.
Because I know a few people said to me that they won't do it because it's not worth it. After taxes and everything, working a day, you only make $60. So something we can discuss
Okay.
in that work session. All right, citizen input. At this time, any citizen of the district who signed in when arriving may request an opportunity to speak briefly. You may address the board for approximately 3 minutes on any topic concerning school matters or community interest. Once recognized by the presiding officer, please state your name and address and any group affiliation when appropriate. Concerns or complaints pertaining to district personnel shall follow proper chain of command. And we only have one this evening, Ms. Pate. Mrs. Pate?
Thank you. Miss, it doesn't matter. I just wanted everybody to know that, first off, we're like already gearing up for fall. And that's just really crazy to me because I'm also then gearing up for fall and it's like, oh my gosh, I haven't started. But I just wanted to let everybody know that Keep Watch, is anybody familiar with Keep Watch? So Keep Watch, I'll read their mission statement. Keep Watch is to see, the mission of Keep Watch is to see every school covered in prayer so that the power and presence of God are experienced in our communities. So we are doing, just every fall, Keep Watch does a prayer blitz. And they do a prayer blitz over schools. And part of this is just for brand new schools to get Keep Watch into their school. But we're already affiliated in the Gibsonburg district with Keep Watch. So we have, Dr. Falkenstein, we have volunteers who come into the school here, middle school, high school, and we pray. So Keep Watch gives us a one-page prayer, weekly prayer. There's an app for it. Of course, there's an app for everything, but it just guides us in prayer. So I have prayers for this coming Monday. Lindsay Sutter is our area coordinator. So we will be praying at Gibsonburg Middle and High School beginning Monday, the 25th at 6:30. I'm going to start here because I have kids now too in the fall starting at Gibsonburg. So I will be here just standing in the parking lot, just praying over this school, in particular this building, the teachers, the staff, and the students. And then I'll be going over to the middle and high school. And then from there, we're going to prayer blitz Fremont. So there's no active Keep Watch in the school systems in Fremont. So from the high school, middle school, then we plan to be at the middle high school in Fremont at 7:15. So I just wanted to, I have flyers if you're interested in knowing more about the Keep Watch, but we'll be here on premises Monday, the 25th. 6:15, I will be here. Then I'll meet up with a middle high school group at 6:30. They will start there. It's a brief 10-minute just prayer, whatever anybody is feeling at that moment, and then guided also by Keep Watch. And then if anybody wants to head over to Fremont and pray over the middle high school, and then we'll be going to Atkinson from there. So anyway, thank you.
Good, thank you. Financial consent agenda. The treasurer recommends that the Board of Education approve the financial consent agenda items I1 through I2. Action by the Board of Education and adoption of the consent agenda means that this item is adopted by one single motion unless a member of the board or the treasurer requests that any such item be removed from the consent agenda and voted upon separately. Item I1, financial reports and graphs. Approve the June 2022 financial reports and graphs as presented. With the absence of Mr. Common, I'm going to just briefly do what he does and go through our revenue and expenditures. Year-to-date revenue is down 3%. Due to large advances returned in fiscal year 21. New state funding formula includes OE, which is up 6%. Our income tax is up 12%. And at the end of the fiscal year, last year ending July, or ending June, we received 101% of our forecasted revenue, which was $10,667,982. Expenditures, total appropriations are down 3%. There were some large advances out in fiscal year 21, 891,217. A lot of our salaries and benefits were paid from ESSER funds. Expenditures are 0.4% over what John had forecasted, and total expenditures for 2021, 2022 are $9,486,559. Also to note, some of the benchmarks that have been put in place by the board. True cash days ending in June is 148. Cash balance, $3,572,617. Salaries and fringes, we set a benchmark a year or so ago, trying to keep that at around 80%. It's at 81%. And revenue expended is at 83%. That's ending in June of 2022. Item I2, advances. Approve advances as listed. I believe these are items that we had to transfer money into to end the fiscal year in the black, and then we usually transfer those funds right back out the following year. So those advances are as listed. Item 22-91, approve the financial consent agenda.
So
Motion by Ms. Whitmer,
Second.
second by Mr. Mendoza. Any questions or discussion? Roll call.
Mr. Mendoza.
Yes.
Ms. Whitmer,
yes.
Mr. Damschroeder.
Yes.
Mrs. Kratzer,
Yes,
Mr. Mason.
Yes. Financial consent agenda passes 5-0. Superintendent.
Okay, item J, consent agenda. Superintendent's report and recommendations. Superintendent recommends that the Board of Education approve the consent agenda items J1 through J6. Action by the Board of Education in adoption of the consent agenda means that all items are adopted by one single motion unless a member of the board or the superintendent requests that any such item be removed from the consent agenda and voted upon separately. Personnel, I'll go through these couple, but not read all the names under item E. Resignation of Ashley as the second grade teacher per her letter. And then we also have to resign her from her resident educator post for the 22-23 school year because we had already approved her. C, unpaid maternity leave for Casey McGo beginning August 31st through October 3rd per her letter dated May 19th, 2022. Grant the following teachers a one-year limited teaching contract for the 22-23 school year pending receipt of background checks. We're excited to invite Brittany Burmeister, bachelor's step 5, and Stephanie Runyon, bachelor's step 9. A lot of experience there. Item E, employ the following substitute personnel for the 22-23 school year as listed. So you can see we cover all of our bases on the type of job. Item F, approve myself as the homeless liaison for the 22-23 school year. And item G, there's a typo there, but designate Joe King as the OSHA representative and toxic hazard preparedness officer for the 22-23 school year. J2, student records, approve the following guidelines concerning student records as listed below. You will see items A through E. Probably don't need to read all of that if you're okay with that. But we have our high school principal as a control officer, keeping records per board policy and not sharing information that we can't, is ultimately what all that means. J3, open enrollment, approve open enrollment numbers for the 22-23 school year as presented. Those numbers are in your board packet that were sent to you last week and reviewed by myself and the principals. J4, the OSBIA conference. Do we appoint somebody to be a delegate to the Capitol Conference and somebody as an alternate?
It's the highest honor you have sitting on this board. I'd like to nominate Tim Dan Schroeder.
It's really boring.
I'm not sure anybody.
I have-
It's a joke every year, so somebody gets nominated. It's usually Tim for some reason.
I think golf season's gonna get extended this year.
Okay.
When is it?
It's in November. I think maybe the first week of November.
Usually, yeah.
Typically, from how I have understood it, is that we haven't had representatives go or attend for quite some time. I was gonna plan to go my first year going to that conference. I'm happy to report back to you.
I would be interested just because I've never done. I
Okay.
understand it's pretty boring, but I
No,
do.
it's a lot. There's a ton of stuff to take in. It's just trying to pick what
Right.
things you
So
go to.
I'll touch base with you and get some more information.
Okay.
But-
Volunteer.
So we're switching it.
Well,
Are we
since I
switching
already penciled in Tim as our delegate, we're gonna put Samantha as our alternate
In case golf season
in
gets.
case golf season gets extended.
Very good. J5, board policy, approve the third reading of the following policies as presented. Our committee did get together. Samantha and Caesar and I got together last week. And we reviewed everything. There were very few things to comment on. You're welcome to do so, I guess, after I get through J6. And the agreement, J6, approve the memorandum of understanding between Gibsonburg Exempted Village School District and Safe Haven Behavioral Health Services for the 22-23 school year as presented. That's already been allocated with ESSER funds. And upon your approval, I'll sign it and send a copy back to them tomorrow.
Item 22-92, approve the consent agenda items.
Motion.
Motion by Mr. Mendoza,
Second.
second by Mr. Dan Schroeder. Questions or discussion?
Yeah, a couple things. Read it up.
No, I have some too.
Okay.
Maybe it's the same
I just
thing.
want to clarify on item J, personnel, that homeless liaison would be item F, because it had E, I believe, and it was a typo. And then Joe King's designation would be G, just for the record. And then also I'd like to talk about J5 board policy 7217 with the weapons. In there, it states that, speak wrong, that says weapons carried by, under item B, exceptions to the policy, because you can't carry weapons. It says, with the exception of weapons carried by security personnel or other designated staff members. employed. I just want to clarify that we are not authorizing any staff members to carry weapons or, so it might be misleading. So I wanted to clarify that. And that's all I have.
Okay, I had a couple of questions. I had a question about J2. We're talking about student records and Mrs. Herman is in charge of, it does say all student records. So I'm assuming that must be all records for all students in the district. I mean,
Correct.
'cause it says, and there's nothing here for the elementary, so they must all be at the high school. Okay, that was one question. Okay, and then, and then as part of that, in D, it talked about that the district has established the following information about each student as directory information and will make it available upon a legitimate request unless a parent, guardian, or adult student notifies the records control officer in writing within 10 days from the date of this notification that he or she will not permit distribution. Does that mean right now, if we approve, when this is approved, is that the notification, or is there further notification the parents get and then the 10 days begin? I mean, I was confused on that. When's the notification?
I believe that the notification is done in final forms when parents have to go in and complete all of their information for the school year.
Okay, so they would have a chance to truly be informed of.
Correct.
Okay, that makes
Correct.
sense then, because I thought this can't be it.
No.
Okay, thank you. And then I did have another question, and that's about J6, the agreement, the memorandum.
Mhm.
In the memorandum itself, I think the way it appears to me in number 3 under section 2, it appears to me that there's 2 periods in there, 75.000.00.
It's,
It should be a comma in there,
should be $75,000.
75,000. So, okay, that's what I thought. So that needs to be corrected then, right?
Okay.
Okay, and then it says, that's like over $8,000 a month. It will be for those 9 months. But it does say the agency will manage up to 20 non-Medicaid clients referred from Gibson schools. My question is, if we're going to pay that much money, will we have, I mean, we'll do everything we can to use the service as fully as we can, up to those 20. I mean, get as many as possible, is what I'm saying.
Agreed.
That
And they
need-
are
need help.
also taking non-qualified students right now during the summertime.
Okay,
They are having group sessions right now, multiple times each week for those that do not qualify under Medicaid. So I didn't review the contract that specifically, but they are here this summer.
okay. And it's covered under the what we pay for a year.
Yes, it
Because we
was.
pay it from September to May, but they are here throughout the year.
They are
For
right
that
now.
same amount of money, evidently.
They,
whatever.
yeah, unless you guys approved something that I don't know of after the fact.
I don't believe so. I don't believe so.
So that's good.
That is very good.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I
absolutely.
see groups of 5 and 6 elementary aged kids with their counselor.
Wonderful. And I've heard nothing but good about them. I just want a clarification on what this meant. Okay. All right, thank you.
Welcome aboard, Mrs. Burmeister.
Yes, yes.
I single you out because I always appreciate when somebody gets hired that they show up to the board meeting, so I appreciate you coming today.
Linda, you too, as it's up.
Linda, you too.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No problem.
I wondered why you started smiling when I said the increased sub pay. I caught you out of the corner of my eye, you got a big grin on your face. Anything else? All right, roll call.
Ms. Whitmer,
Yes.
Mr. Damschroeder,
Yes.
Mrs. Kratzer,
Yes.
Mr. Mason,
Yes.
Mr. Mendoza.
Yes.
Item passes 5-0. Item K, non-consent agenda. Authorize Dr. Bob Falkenstein to act as the purchasing agent for the school district effective July 1st, 2022. And we we have two more items that we're gonna add that are kind of addendums to the agenda. You should have seen those at your desk. The first one, we will make item. How do we talk about doing that, Dr. Bob? Am I cooking this up?
2294 for Grant,
Yeah, for,
or for Grant, Grant and Peyton.
yeah,
Hallier.
2294, and then employment of supplemental personnel will be 2295.
Mhm.
So actually, we need to. We need a little guidance on this. Do we need to number those, or can we just add them into the non-consent agenda as separate items?
We already voted on that, so. They're, well, you can put them right in non-consent.
We haven't voted on that.
Right, like that. Yes, you can put those in as non-consent.
So we don't need to renumber those and issue them separate ones. They can fall right.
They'll
under
go
the
on under
non-consent agenda
2293.
Is that what we'll do in the future? We'll
Yeah,
just make that a
yeah, so that's my fault.
probably be easier.
The addendum's gonna be added, yeah.
So there's three non-consent agenda items. The one I just read about, the purchasing agent. The second one will be Grant Peyton Hallier, a one-year limited teaching contract, bachelor's step 0 for the 2022-2023 school year, pending receipt of licensure and background check. And the last one will be employ the following supplemental personnel for the 2022-2023 school year. Wendy Muntz is junior high volleyball at group 4, step 1.
So
So
would
that-
those
those
be
would be-
B and C
B.
then?
Yeah.
Those would be
Right,
B and
B and
C.
C,
A, B, and C.
okay. B and C.
KB, and KC. Sorry. All right, item 22-93, approve the non-consent agenda.
So moved.
Motion by Mrs. Kratzer, second by Mr. Dan Schroeder. Questions or discussion? Roll call?
Mr. Damschroeder.
Yes.
Mrs. Kratzer,
Yes.
Mr. Mason,
Yes.
Mr. Mendoza.
Yes.
Ms. Whitmer.
Item passes 5-0. Item L, non-action items, approve the second reading of policies 1439 and 4439 as presented. And item M, adjournment. Item 22-94, approve adjournment.
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Damschroeder,
Second.
second by Mr. Mendoza. Roll call?
Sorry. Mrs. Kratzer,
Yes.
Mr. Mason,
Yes.
Mr. Mendoza,
Yes.
Ms. Whitmer,
Yes.
and Mr. Damschroeder.
Yes.
Item passes 5-0. Meeting adjourned at 7:14. Coming.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Mrs. Payne, I would like one of your flyers, please.
Site